From having one of the longest careers in the sport to producing moments of pure magic in the octagon, Donald Cerrone is someone you don't want to miss. That's why today I decided to dedicate a video to honor his legacy. You're probably wondering what the occasion is. Well, the man got inducted into the UFC Hall of Fame. Over the years, Donald Cerrone has given his all to the sport of MMA. Beyond that, he's given his all to the UFC.
Big shots by Miller, but Donald lines up on top. Miller going for a triangle. Can't secure it.
The man fought a staggering 38 fights throughout his time in the UFC. It's been a while since he retired, and even then, no other fighter has come close to totaling his number of fights in the octagon. It's safe to say that Donald Cerrone was one of a kind. There really won't be another fighter like him coming our way anytime soon.
Body shot for Cowboy Cerrone. Masvidal just out of range with that combination.
The man didn't shy away from challenges and took whatever Dana threw at him head on. When it comes to achieving legend status in this sport, Cerrone managed to carve his name in MMA legend through his feats in the ring. There are very few who can even dream of coming close to the level that this man achieved during his career. This might have gotten you wondering, sure, the man fought a lot, but how come he was given a spot in the UFC Hall of Fame? Dude, Donald Cerrone was a complete savage.
You're looking at him.
It's not often that you see Dana White wholeheartedly giving compliments to his fighters. However, when it comes to Cerrone, White has nothing but praise to give. During his speech, before inducting Cerrone into the Hall of Fame, White talked about all the contributions that Cerrone has made to the sport throughout the years. He talked about how Donald never hesitated at taking on new challenges. Man could have been signed to a fight with 1 day's notice, and he still would have pulled up to serve a piping hot serving of whoop. That's just the kind of guy he was. If you thought you'd seen crazy, Cerrone took it to a whole new level. He was out here beating world champions like they were amateurs. Throughout his career, he managed to secure wins over the likes of Edson Barboza, Eddie Alvarez, and Charles Oliveira. You could pit him against anyone, and he'd always manage to surprise you with the outcome. This makes you wonder how he got his start in this sport.
Weight class. Oh my! Story's in big trouble.
Big time. Cowboy looking for the finish.
Well, his humble beginnings came in the form of Ring of Fire. Before the Cowboy became as big of a name as he is today, he went through hell trying to make a name for himself during the early days of the sport. He came onto the MMA scene with a bang, submitting his first professional opponent in the first round via a triangle choke. If you thought Cerrone didn't have a good ground game, well, you'd be wrong. Soon after winning his first professional fight, the Cowboy decided to go on a rampage across 3 different MMA promotions.
2012, but actually said he kept.
Oh, guillotine.
He ended up winning his next 6 fights and entered the WEC with a record of 7 wins with no losses. It looked like there wasn't anyone who could step up to Cerrone and end his streak of terror. To further cement his dominance, Donald ended up submitting his first opponent under WEC, Kenneth Alexander, in under 56 seconds. However, the victory was later overturned and ruled a no contest, much to the Cowboys' dismay. Still, he didn't let a small setback like that hold him back, as he went on to win his next 2 fights against Danny Castillo and Rob McCullough with ease. This brings us to the question of when Cowboy finally got his big break. And just like every hero's tale, this one starts with a little misfortune.
Excellent body kick from Cerrone, but Masvidal unleashes a counter. He was waiting on it.
It was 2009 and the stage was set. The bout was Varner versus Cerrone. Cowboy was a crowd favorite, and everybody expected him to come out on top once again. However, as they say, every dog has his day, and, well, Cerrone ended up losing to Varner in what would be his first ever professional loss in the sport. Although that loss might just have been the best thing that could have happened to him, as he went on to win 4 of his next 6 fights. It wasn't soon after that Zuffa bought out WEC, and the UFC was born.
Movement so far from Cerrone. Look for Cerrone to throw those front kicks to the body.
Even then, Cerrone wasn't one to slow down. By the time he ended his career, Donald had broken and set numerous records in the sport that still stand today. It's safe to say that Cerrone was something else entirely and had the world in the palm of his hand throughout his career. Anyways, we've gone through all of his major accomplishments inside the ring, but what about all the things he achieved outside of it? Well, there's no shortage of that either. While he broke, set, and still holds numerous records inside the ring, he's also received his fair share of accolades outside of it.
He looks fantastic in his last fights, but this is going to be the first time he's fighting a guy who's a real legit one.
Back in 2011, he received the Breakthrough Fighter of the Year award. In case you're wondering, this was back when the sport wasn't that well known. So to win such an award during that era was something else entirely. He also received the Fight of the Year award from Sports Illustrated for his 2009 fight against Benson Henderson for the interim WEC lightweight title. If we rewind even further back, you'll be surprised to learn about his Muay Thai record.
Nice sequence there for Cerrone.
The man holds an undefeated record of 28 straight wins with just one draw. So it's safe to say that I'd love to see a fight between him and Buakaw sometime soon. It's as if nothing fazed the man.
He goes down to Mexico before the end of his training camps, and people think he's down there fooling around on vacation. He goes down there.
Back when he was in his prime, he was unstoppable. There wasn't anything anyone could do to even have a hope of beating him inside the octagon.
Very nice. He might have hurt Brown. Brown's keeping that right elbow tight to the body there.
With that being said, you have to wonder whether we'll ever see someone as great as this man ever again. If I'm being honest, this dude was a one-of-a-kind, so no. Cowboy was a gem of a fighter. He pushed through every tough situation he faced the only way he knew how, by working hard, staying focused, and making sure that nobody caught him lacking. As I mentioned before, back in his prime, this man was either submitting or knocking everybody out. If he'd been in his prime in this day and age, the UFC would be turned upside down onto its head. There's a reason why Dana White adores the guy so much. It's impossible not to like the man. He's never been rude or disrespectful to anybody. All he's done is show up, beat people up, and go home with another fight of the night paycheck. There was a time when Cerrone made everyone else look like amateurs.
Good inside kick by Story.
Final seconds of the round.
Fast forward to today, he's chilling with his family in Edgewood, New Mexico. It's safe to say that he's earned his retirement and can rest knowing that he was one of the best fighters to have ever graced the sport. When you look at fighters today, no one has even an inch of the same amount of resolve that Cerrone showed throughout his career. I mean, the man was a menace. If the fighters of this day and age decided to go down his path, you'd see some crazy fights a lot more often. Now, though, the man is retired and hung up his gloves. And if I'm being honest, he deserves to let off a bit of steam. He's one of the best to have ever done it, and there's no one out there who can dispute that fact. That was everything on the legacy of Donald Cowboy Cerrone.